There are many of you on this app that looks at the slave trade all wrong, just completely wrong. Many of you are targeting a specific religion that did this, okay? And that's just all wrong, okay? No matter if there were an Arab religion, European or European religions, African religion, it does not matter. All of them, okay? No matter what spirituality or whatever have you, okay? All of them did the same exact thing, no matter what their belief system was. They recategorized people, they twisted whatever their belief was or their doctrine was, and they twisted it, okay? And it was all for greed and profit. Okay, just all of it was for greed and profit. It wasn't because in their belief system they believed this, and in their belief system they believed this, and if they no, it was the fact that they all decided to use loopholes in whatever they believed for greed and profit. Okay, so it's not targeting one or the other, this religion or that religion or this religion. That's garbage. Okay, so it's not targeting. Don't sit there and target and say, oh, well, Christians did this, because they weren't Christian. If they participated, the Bible clearly says the kidnapping and the selling of people is sin. It's worthy of death. It also talks about it in Revelation. It also talks about it in the New Testament. Okay? It's completely no. Okay? It's called men stealing or man stealing, which is the slave trade. Okay? These were not people practicing actual real Christianity. And then you have the people who they say, well, African spirituality. Here's the thing, okay? Those people, the African leaders who profited and participated and loved participating in it, they had a belief system too, okay? And it was either they were still for the slave trade. Okay, they had a belief system too. I don't care what you want to call those spirituality and traditional. They had a belief system too. And they also profited off the slave trade. Okay, and then you have the Arabs. Okay, they profited before the Europeans did off of the slave trade along with African people. Okay, and they also have a belief system or code, and they also reclassified people as criminals or reclassified people just so that they can make it a loophole or something. So okay, so our belief says this, well, we're going to make it a loophole. If we rename these people this, then it'll be okay for us to do this to them. But it's a loophole. Okay, so it's the same thing for any other group that wanted to do evil to another group. Okay, they reclassify them, or they make them less than, or they say something, whatever. These people we're going to treat like this, okay? It was only after a period of time that a lot of, because I'm going to tell you the truth, the majority of European countries, leaders and nations wanted the slave trade. The majority of African leaders wanted the slave trade. Okay? The majority of the Arab leaders and nations wanted the slave trade. Okay? So you need to digest that. They wanted the slave trade because it benefited their kingdoms, their nations, and themselves through merchandise, weapons, guns, whatever. It profited them in some sort of way. Okay? And that's the truth. And all of these peoples had some sort of belief system. And the one thing you have to understand is that it went against their belief systems. Okay? I already talked about the slave trade, and do not confuse the word slave in all of these different beliefs can mean different things. You have to look at context. You must look at context when you're going back and reading these ancient beliefs and these ancient documents, okay? Slavery could mean debt. I'm sorry, slave could mean you're in debt. In Arab countries, they were supposed to be set free. They never were, okay? In the Old Testament, they weren't supposed to be mistreated. In the Old Testament of the Bible, they were supposed to choose where they live in the Old Testament, but by the New Testament, all of them were supposed to be free and treated with justice and good. Okay? All of them. You weren't supposed to oppress anyone. In fact, in the Old Testament, it says if someone works for you and you don't pay them, you're wrong. Okay? So when it comes, and in the African spirituality, okay, I'm not sure they have their traditional religions, but they would also reclassify when they went to go and pillage other people for the slave trade. They would just simply say, well, we're going to consider these aren't our people. And that's where that came from. Surprise. These people, we're going to make them criminals so we can treat them how we want to treat them. And so the people of that kingdom would be okay with it. Okay? Because those people are just reclassify those people. So the reclassification of peoples, okay, was done to circumvent, to loophole actual morale and belief systems. That's what it was. As a matter of fact, if you're an actual Christian like me, in the Bible it says, the love of money is the root of all evil, and it will cause many to leave the faith. It will cause many to leave the faith. And that's what happened in the case of Christianity. They sat up there and they were like, oh, this money sure sound good. This sound good. And they left the faith. So it's not the fact that, okay, the love of money is just the root of all evil. You have to go on. You have to finish the actual sentence. Thus, and thus what will it cause? It will cause people to leave the faith. Okay? This happened throughout. So when you look and say, okay, well, these people who none of them were practicing real Christianity. None of them were anybody who's participated in the slave trade did not practice actual Christianity at all. Okay? I'm not of the other religions or whatever, but yeah. But surely they use loopholes as well. And if they didn't use loopholes, they were fine with it. Okay? So, at the end of the day, you have to look at the slave trade as it truly is. Okay? That's all it was. It was just people wanting to get money. Period. Just like today. You see trafficking going on. It's all about that bread. It's all about that money. No slave trader was better than the other one. None of them. All of them are pure crap.